All right, y'all. So President Trump has been at it again. He's been making a point of going after the various judges in the cases against him. And now we get this. Axios has the following. Trump said it would be a great honor to be jailed for a gag order violation. Former President Trump said Saturday that going to jail for violating his gag order in his New York hush money trial would be his great honor. The presumptive GOP presidential nominee is days away from the April 15th start of the trial, where Judge Juan Merchan recently expanded a gag order to stop the former president from attacking family members of those involved in the case. By the way, the fact that he even has to do this is insane. Because Trump will just drag the people's family members into it and say, this one's a Trump-hating lunatic. Look at the post they made on Facebook in 2009. Like, this is the stuff he does. So like, hey, this is leading to violent threats and backlash to these people that you're targeting. Stop it. Anybody else doing what Trump is doing would have had their would have been brought into pretrial detention a long, long time ago. No doubt about it. But Trump gets away with it. Quote, if this partisan hack wants me to put in the clink for speaking the open and obvious truth, I will gladly become a modern-day Nelson Mandela, Trump said Saturday in a Truth Social post, comparing himself to Nelson Mandela. Because, I believe him too. I think he's trying to get put behind bars, and he thinks he could use that politically for himself. I think he's trying to do it. But I actually don't think, Trump is obviously convinced that if he were to be put behind bars before trial for violating the gag order, that it would help him politically. I totally disagree with that. I think that if he were put behind bars, yeah, you'd have conservative media all riled up and Republican politicians all riled up and saying, this is unfair, this is a witch hunt, look what they're doing to him. But I think normie Americans would be like, if your ass was just put behind bars, you had to do some shit to deserve that. They don't just put random ass billionaires behind bars. Billionaires get fucked away with whatever the fuck they want to get away with. So I think it would actually backfire. So I don't know. He shouldn't be doing this, but he is. They continue here, quote, we have to save our country from these political operatives masquerading as prosecutors and judges. I am willing to sacrifice my freedom for that worthy cause. Merchan had first issued a gag order against the former president in late March, prohibiting him from making or directing others to make public statements regarding counsel in the case, aside from District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Merchan expanded the gag order this past week to include protections for family members of prosecutors and court members. Trump, who has pleaded not guilty to all charges, has denied any wrongdoing, faces 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the first degree related to alleged hush money payments made in 2016. This will be the first of Trump's 4 criminal cases to go to trial and could be the only one to see a decision before the 2024 presidential race. See, this has now shaped up to be a bit of a disaster in my opinion, because this is the only case that could see a conclusion before Election Day, and this is by far the weakest case in my opinion. By far. Because the hush money thing, look, you get a sense like, was it fucked up? Yeah. Was it unethical? Sure. But I think the normie reaction is like, was this thing in particular really the thing that was horrifically immoral and unethical? No. That stuff is more around, I would say even the business fraud is far above and beyond what this is. This technically has some aspects of fraud in it as well, but like the civil case in New York, the Letitia James one, which was phenomenally successful and they're fining Trump $1 gazillion, that was even more immoral and unethical in terms of what Trump did than this is. So to me, the big one, obviously, I think everybody feels this to one extent or another, is more, it's the January 6th stuff. It's the fake elector scheme. It's like the literal attempt to try to stay in office after he lost. Like, that's the biggest crime. And so to not have a conclusion on that before the election is kind of devastating. Because this one, yeah, you can sort of see how the right can look at it and maybe spin it to be like, no, the punishment is not going to meet the crime. Oh, he's going to have to spend time in jail because he made a hush money payment to a porn star? Like, what are we doing here? That's a little bit of a reach, right? So that's kind of terrifying. That's kind of terrifying, if I'm being honest with you. Judge in Trump classified docs case faces mounting scrutiny. We talked about that the other week. She's making a whole bunch of decisions that are biased in favor of Trump, but it looks like Jack Smith is going to make a move to go above this judge to try to, because she's entertaining the idea of the total presidential immunity, which is like the case can't even get off the ground in that scenario. So we'll see what happens on that front. But look, I actually think he wants to get locked up before the trial. Ideally, like a day before the trial. He spends a day in jail. He gets to play the political prisoner, and he thinks that'll help him. I actually don't think that'll help him. I think it'll help him with his people, with his base, but that's not expanding the base to get your ass locked up. So I don't know. But again, this is the weakest case of all the cases, and that sucks to me. I'd much rather have the Jack Smith cases. I'd much rather have the Georgia case. I'd much rather have one of the heavier charges than the hush money stuff. So I don't know, man. We're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle here, but you've seen the polls. The polls recently have been pretty much dead tied with him and Biden. I think in the swing, when it comes to the swing states, Trump has a little bit of a lead. But, man, we're in dark, deep, uncharted waters here. That's for sure. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.